think this is?
I would think it would be at Fort McPherson, because they got the tents all up, and I don't think they put tents around down here.
No, they didn't. They loaded them up and hauled them off. Took them straight on to Atlanta.
Did you know anybody who was on that, who got hauled off to Atlanta?
At that time, I know nearly all of them. But now I don't know.
All of the ones there on
I worked with
the picture, but it's been so long ago till I've forgotten them.
Anybody in your family in here?
Nobody
other
but her
than-
brother.
Other than his brother James, and he was just a young boy.
I wouldn't know him on now, maybe.
Was James working in the mill at the time?
He
Oh.
might have been, I don't know.
I think he was. He was a human man, wasn't
I don't
he?
know.
I think he was working at the time.
Now that looks like Viola Horton.
They wore them more long dresses
And
then, too.
that looks like Eula May.
Mhm.
Now I didn't know all of this was going on.
They had a pretty good bunch of women.
Mm-hmm. That's Viola. And her sister Eula May.
Could you talk about the Horton girls?
Well, I can tell you, the first mayonnaise I ever ate was at the Horton girls' house.
They made it.
They made it.
First time
And
we
they-
ate, I reckon. They made it. I asked you what it was.
We stayed together most of the time till we went to work in the mill.
So the Horton girls were from a well-known family here.
Well, about as well known as they lived on Lincoln Street. And when we moved here, we moved on Lincoln Street in the house with my brother.
A lot of them people's dead.
Yeah. Y'all should have come many years ago when we could remember. We can't remember.
No.
I just don't recognize any of those.
I imagine if you see Luther, he'll have that big old hat on and overalls. They like it.
I believe that's Olivia right there. That's Belle. That's Lena Easterwood.
Pearl Easterwood's right.
Mother.
Did people talk about this back then?
That back when it happened, they did. They don't never say about it now.
The people that live here now don't even know, probably
know.
doesn't even know anything about it.
What did they say back then about it?
I don't know.
They were just wanting to get back to work and not have to work so hard. But I don't think they ever got to the place where they,
One thing you don't see them over long men with long pigtail hair. Well, you won't see them there and there. Pigtail hair. Silliest thing ever.
Now that looks like Tut Spencer right there.
And they walked off.
Yeah, the one that walked off.
Got a story about him?
Other than that,
Just noted.
just knew him, that was all. As by his name, I don't know.
If you see somebody kind of like that with a black hat, you'll see Luther. He always wore a black hat. Blue or black.
How long they stayed up there?
About a week, I think.
And there the girls again.
A lot of them's dead.
And there's Eula May. Yep.
Okay, now this is that. Paint over and show it to your husband. See how many of them you can identify.
See, right there's Jane. Right beyond Tut Spencer there. May not can see it without your glasses.
I tell you the truth, I could know.
You could know. Any of them, I know.
Offhand, no.
Gordy Hanson's on there, right up in there. And Truett Sims is over here on this side. And a man that died
Oh,
the
they're
other
taking
day,
it.
the Todd man.
Well, Howard,
Yeah,
What is-
this is a blowed up picture of the one that I had cut out of the paper.
mm-hmm.
And
It looked kind of like my car that was down right here. Sure can't.
Well, tell us
So
about yourself when during that time.
I don't know exactly where I was. It's been so long. There's a bunch of us riding around. Felton Green, a bunch of us riding around in a truck, car one. Truck, I believe it was. They're beating on the side of it with ball bats, trying to get attention. Telling them about this truck.
Whose idea was that?
I guess it's Felton Green and them. They the one that owned the truck. We just loaded it up.
Who was that?
Felton Green, guy that lives here.
Tell us about Felton Green.
That's all I know about it.
he has passed away.
He was a couple with young Greenwood when he passed away, but just worked at in the mill with us. It's been so long, I just forgot all of it. I just can't remember none of it.
Was Felton Green a leader of the strikers?
No, Percy
No.
Wilkes was the leader.
Not Percy
No, not
Wilkes.
Percy Wilkes. I know his name. Homer Welch.
Homer Welch.
Yeah, Homer Welch was the leader.
Do you remember Homer Welch?
At that time, but I don't now.
Okay. Well, Tell us about it.
I can't.
We-
I don't know it. I can't. He would just tell us what to do. And so I just can't nothing I can say about it. But we just done what he said. He'd get up and talk to the whole bunch, and we just do what he said to do. But load up the truck and go so and so. Well, we'd do it. See.
Where did he come from?
First, I know he was here. I couldn't tell you where he come from.
You've been living here a long time?
I couldn't really say. But he was the leader of that distracted bunch. I mean, he told them how to do it and what to do.
What did people think about it?
Well, they liked him. Everybody liked him.
He was a well thought of man. Here in
He was
Hogansville at
trying to
that
help
time.
everybody get things straightened out.
But see, at that time, Callaway owned the mills, and he was really against the unions.
Uh-oh.
That's what's
A nice mother and daddy,
Yeah.
really nice.
Wally Woods. You ever ken of Wally Woods?
Yeah, but they were cousins.
I used to know all them, but I done forgot them. In fact, I can't remember like I used to. I'll be thinking about somebody ask me something, I know it, but I can't tell them what it is unless for a few seconds. Memory.
But I tell you something you can tell us about. Tell us when you first went in the mills and what it was like.
Everybody was glad to get a job. Really glad to get a job. But back in them days, there just wasn't no jobs. I come from Thomaston over here. Before I got old enough to work in the mill.
And it was not easy.
How old were you when you first started working in the mills?
I run my age up. I think I was 13 or 14. Run my age up and had to have it run back when I started drawing my Social Security. I think it's only in 3 different, 1 year back and right and 1 year forward. They got it straightened out. I told them to start with I had run my age up to go to work.
We got the first Social Security cards that were put out.
First driving license.
Tell us about your first job in the mill and what you got paid.
1480. She didn't get paid nothing.
Yeah, I did. I got $6.96 a week.
1480 is all you made. All anybody made. It wasn't the boss.
They didn't pay you what you made. They just paid so much an hour.
Yeah, that was 60 hours a week too.
66 hours.
1480.
What work did you do?
Well, I worked in the twister room, the card room. Never did run any cards, but I run drawing, the same thing, same place.
You know that.
In the twister room, I run twisters. About the only 2 places I worked in the mill. Twister room, the card room.
And the drawing was when you saw
Well,
that
drawing is the card room.
stuff coming out of those cans. That's
To
what you did.
make thread, we made a cord for Uniroyal towers down here. The cord to put in, wasn't no steel in them then, just cord.
How'd you get along with your boss?
Fine. Well, they had several different bosses by the time I stayed there. I stayed there over 20 years. Then quit and went back and worked some.
I'm trying to figure out if the company gave you a house and paid your light bill and water bill and so forth, What were people striking about?
Because it wasn't hardly making enough to live.
Who told you the company gave him the house?
You had to pay, I think it was $1 a room. Wasn't it?
And 50 cents a drop for your lights, just one.
You know, if you had a 6-room house, it wouldn't cost you but $3. Oh, $6 a month. Had a 3-room house, $3 a month.
And they taking that out every week.
So you got a hold of it.
Why do you think the people were striking?
Well, a lot of them was going hungry. Couldn't get nothing to eat.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
All of them was going hungry, and they had to do something to get. And then PWA, or what they call it, come in here and put them up, digging ditches and cleaning up. Then this thing started picking up.
When Roosevelt come in.
And that's when Roosevelt come in and put them on and cleaning up roads and everything. And them was all of them. They made more than they did down the mill, see? And that's when things started picking up. That's just before then is when they had the strike. That was the whole starting of it. And if that hadn't been for him letting us all work on the PWA, whatever you call it, cleaning the bushes and the roads and things, a lot of people would have starved to death. But that started picking up right there and been picking up ever since.
Now, during the strike, did the union make any effort to feed you?
As far as I know, they didn't, because they didn't have no money. They had to get together to try to help one another. No, there wasn't no money to be passed in it. And I don't think you had to pay anything to join it either. Just tell them you don't belong to it.
But later on, they did start
Later on,
charging.
they did, yeah.
Now, I understand some people from here went to over to LaGrange. Did you hear anything about that?
Mm-hmm.
They went from here to everywhere, from everywhere to here at the time. I just don't know. What was the reason why that I never could get on that cleaning up the ditches?
I don't know,
Something,
LT. You just didn't.
Made too much or something. I never could get on that clearing the road and cleaning up ditches.
Just don't know too much
I must
about
have-
it.
I
It's
must
been
have-
so long ago till.
I must have still been working in the mill, because I didn't get on that. PWA or WPA, whatever you call it.
Now, if you were riding around in those trucks, why was it that they kept you on in the mill when it opened up again?
I don't know. Most of the people went right back to work. There wasn't very many that didn't. I guess the ones that didn't want to went somewhere, but when they opened up, I didn't miss nobody.
See, they did not get the union in. And the ones that was on the trucks, they had to let them come back or else the mills couldn't start up. So that was the reason that they went back to work.
Now, we've got records from Washington about a number of people in East Noonan who were in the union and got dispossessed notices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen
Well,
here?
Yeah, some of the leaders never did get back to work down here. But just an old common person like myself and the rest of them said, we just went on back to work. But the ring leaders, no.
I had not thought about Homer Welch. Since all of it happened, I believe they went over into Alabama after that.
They had another strike over there, I think, didn't
I don't know.
Well, to show you how fresh your memory is, how good your memory is, we talked with somebody yesterday who's got Homer Welch's wife's address,
Mm-hmm.
daughter's address,
Yeah.
and they stayed in touch.
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right.
She was outside Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
All that happened before these years was even born.
I believe his wife had passed away, hadn't she? LT, I believe Homer Welch's wife was Aldine Richardson's sister.
I think so. B.H. Richardson's wife's sister, wasn't
Can't right now. I can't remember.
Did you ever take part in any other thing about unions?
it? Mm-mm.
Other than we went to that one meeting I was telling you about.
I never did join no union either.
Did you know that this was happening all over the country?
Right at that time, that's what little I heard. Everybody was trying to do something to get better to live. It was a mess.
Did you ever see Roosevelt?
I never was close to him.
Do you remember hearing his fireside chats?
I believe I went over to Warm Springs one time and he was over there, but I didn't get close to him. You know, he used to be in them springs over there and the name and all that.
Y'all been down there.
And I've been pretty close, but not close enough to talk to him, speak to him.
You remember listening to him on the radio?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that.
I think he made a speech in Warm Springs one time, and I happened to be over that way. There was a bunch of people was over there.
There's not too much we can remember about the fireside chats. At that time, they didn't have TV, you know, and
Did you have a radio?
Well,
we Yes. had
a battery radio. The second TV, the two TVs come to Hoganville. Whit Barrett got them up here. Some of the auto store screens were just about like that. He got one, and I got one. People used to gather right in together in here all the time to watch that little bitty television. First two that ever come to Hoganville.
What about radio?
People would quit playing and play television.
You remember when the first radio came here?
Yeah, we had no battery radio, and that'd get right up after years. Sometimes you couldn't hear it.
I did have the receipt when my daddy paid for the radio. I believe it's in yonder, and where I got that picture a while ago. It was $1.50 a week.
Do you have any of your old pay envelopes?
I don't think I have.
No.
Wasn't none. They put it in the envelope. And
Well, that's what he was talking about.
Bills and silver. And it was in bills. No, I ain't got none.
They never had a company store here, did they?
Mm.
Now, they had a company store at Sargent's. Had y'all been to Sargent?
I think they had one up there at the other place we went to work at too.
Bannon?
Bannon.
Mm-hmm.
They even had buku money in Bannon. That made the only money you spending in that little town. We went up there and went to work up there a long time. It used to be a straight down, red big spring out in front of that mill run with water. Water wheel turned it.
So why did you move around so long?
Trying to get some work, trying to get something to do.
There was short time here then.
Short time everywhere.
Meals was maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and if they were running any better any place else, you would try to get there.
Well, in a way it was bad, but it wasn't in a way. You could buy gas for $0.10 a gallon. Some places cheaper than that. Now look at it.
Where did you get your first car?
Don't remember. I just about had one ever since I was big enough to drive one.
You know,
Old T models. Other T model. Yeah, T model. Them things are kiki. break your arms. Had to crank it with a crank in the front, see. And boom, that thing would fly like that. Papa learned me how to crank it with my foot. Get up there and stand up and get the pedal, crank your ass right and hit it, let your foot slide off of it. And when it, people hadn't got broke legs with them. Broke arms too with them old cranks on T-models. I don't know, Papa would get out there a lot of times, jack up the back wheel, where to turn, put it in gear, and crank it with the back wheel, turn the back wheel, keep them getting kicked.
What about those 3 pedals?
That's what I'm talking about. Run about an old magneter. You know, put some old points up there and tickle 4 of them. Magneter on a wheel. I got some in one of them things, you know, somewhere come out of that thing. Little V-shaped things and fastened in there and magnet in them. When them things pass it, part of that. You ever saw one of them?
Yeah.